My talk is on abstract. I agree with what Dr. Arvind Kulkarni said, that it was going to be hard to publish papers. But my experience later on has been that you can, depending on what is your goal. And I think with more and more open Asian journals which have come through, it has become much more easier to publish if you actually have a good article. And I'm just going to go through that. So I'm a neurosurgeon from Sydney, Australia. And this is my brief. I work into large hospitals. I did my PhD in 2016. I published quite a few when I was doing my PhD with a group. And then it's been slow progression. You're trying to build your practice. In the last 2 years, I've got 2 postdoc researchers, several medical students, published 6 articles in the last 6 months. And I've done special editions for both ALIF and OLIF in a couple of journals. My citation index is about 5,500 with the H index of 35. Now, why do abstract matter? The first and often the only part of your paper which is read, as soon as it comes out, somebody wants to read it, they read the first part of your abstract and then go, do I want to go through this? For reviewers and editors and conference committees, they screen these before making into anything meaningful. So this is the first part. It's like a trailer. You put a trailer up, they like it, then they go through with it. Otherwise, they don't. It appears in all kinds of databases, searchable, citable, shareable, and it determines whether your paper actually gets read, accepted, or cited. So it is a good trailer. If it's not a good trailer, most of them don't get into publication. If your abstract doesn't sell your paper, nothing gets a chance. Even if you've got a really nice manuscript, if your abstract doesn't catch their attention, like Warawat said about title not catching their attention, you won't get it published. So, introduction, what do you want to write? So that depending on which type of journal it is, you do have, what are you trying to do with this study? So what is missing in the literature? Why do you think your paper is important? And I think this is where the crux of the matter comes, because there is always something that is missing in the literature. We'll think that nothing is missing. It's actually untrue. There's always something that's missing. People go on, prompts, minimally invasive, I did 1,000, 2,000, 15,000 cases, and these are my results. But instead of that, if there is a single small thing that you want to really look into, you can get in there. So this is one of my articles that I wrote when I was a trainee. And, we frequently get, there is a great advantage of anti-lumbar fusion. Why? Because it's indirect decompression. But there's no real data about how big is that indirect decompression. So this is me, when I was looking at, how do you want to measure the foraminal height? So I looked it up, I got into various imaging softwares, trying to get how to measure it, then measured it, and I thought, this is actually interesting. I can measure all these things. And I standardized, I wrote up a standardized method called pedicle to pedicle technique, and then you would measure it in the midpoint of the pedicle. And then I did a study of whatever stuff we had for a number of patients. So I think that did make a huge difference for this article to be published in the Spine Journal. This was in 2013 when, as Arvind said, it was not easy to publish in those unless you were part of the big group. Then your aims and objectives. Again, your main objective should be very clearly presented. What is your real objective? And the side objectives. The side objectives are the ones which you want it to be statistically significant or rule it out, both ways. So again, in this case, my main objective was to standardize the foraminal measurement and then find out how much is the indirect decompression and what are the factors. So they do give you an idea. So this is another one example. This was a randomized controlled trial, 1:1. And again, mainly it was on lumbar spinal stenosis, so very specific. There were no studies comparing with matched controls at that time. And basically, you wanted to look at the differences. The methods, again, these are important. You should clarify your population, type of study, when to when, so the time points, what was your intervention, and what did you actually measure. So it could be radiological, prompts, most of the times what you exactly want to measure. So for this study, it was from ALIF 2011 to 13, prospective series, just using the pedicle to pedicle technique, and it was radiological parameters. So there was no importance in this study about the prompts. The randomized control trial, a little bit more different, there was more enrollment, how many patients in each group, and what did we measure in terms of the prompts. Results, again, very important to be very specific. You start with age, ratio of female to male, total number, what kind of groups they were, and what really you wanted to look at the outcomes. So you don't have the same amount of time like you do in a manuscript, so you have to be pretty concise. Again, statistical significance is very important. So in this case, we measured the foraminal dimensions improvement, so 67%, 21 width. So you can see that the dimension of the foramen, the area, was much more important than everything else. And then the important thing was statistically the PTP technique, we used inter and intra-class reliabilities. That's a very important because you want to prove that it is reliable when people measure it. So if I measure or any one of you measure, it's the same at different time points. So then you go to the conclusions. Your main objective, was it achieved? What were the side objectives? And to leave something for the future. So in this, the ALIF results in significant indirect decompression. And this is based on this technique, which is P2P. And the posterior disc height was a significant factor. So again, there's an important thing that you have the posterior disc height is more important to the foraminal dimensions rather than the anterior disc height. Because when number of times you put a cage in, you're thinking about the anterior height. But if you have a high lordosis, that may not restore your foraminal height. So if you want to do it the other way around, you want to get the posterior disc height larger. So it depends on what you really want to achieve. So similarly for the other paper, it was short-term follow-up, very effective. Additional benefits of, it was equal, but additional benefits were decrease in VAS score, postoperative recovery time, time to mobilization, and opioid use. So tips are write it last, because you want to make sure that what you've known is you can put it up in a right way. Quantify the results, clear, concise language, impact, emphasize the impact. Don't overuse jargons. A weak one will just say significant improvement, technique was effective. But if you just used instead, ODI improved from this to this was statistically significant. That's much more effective than it just improved kind of a very vague word. So this is your pitch, make it compelling, a very clear structure, make sure the reader really understands what you're trying to achieve and put the numbers in there. Your science deserves to be read. Don't let a weak abstract hold it back. Thank you very much.